Hey, welcome to the My Inner Struggle podcast, where I talk about everything personal growth, lifestyle, and business. My name is Laura Ferry. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I was having a conversation with a friend last week about some changes that he's made in his life. And we've known each other for a long time. So we've been through a lot of different situations together, from marriage to now, kids, everything in between, businesses and not. And I've known him for a really long time. And I appreciate the insight that he has to offer me, whether it be in business or personal life, and the wisdom and the experiences that he shares. And he was talking about some of his own personal growth and getting healthy and stuff like that. And I'm talking to him about it, and this is not something that we've really discussed necessarily anytime recently. And I found myself listening to him, and I was completely kind of brushing it off. And I wasn't really absorbing anything, and I couldn't figure out necessarily why. So some of those are triggers, obviously, right? But then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, am I stuck? Like, I didn't even want to hear it because I know the things that I need to do, but why am I not doing them? And then I moved on, and that was last week, a conversation that we had, and I moved on, and I'm thinking about, the things that I'm trying to move forward in my business and building this company and all the different elements that I have going on, and the book that I'm finishing and hopefully will be published very soon, and all of these lists that I have going. I have a list for my house. I have a list for my business. I have a list of calls that I have to make and all of the things that I'm organizing. And I can accomplish those things. But what is it about this whole getting healthy thing that is holding me back? So as I'm writing my book, and I've been going through these things over the last few weeks, and I'm on draft 3 and I'm about halfway through, and I've added another 10,000 words, and it's really fucking cool. And I'm like, how am I able to accomplish all of these things? Like my weight has always been an issue for me, and it stems back from childhood. And it stems back from childhood. And it's just one of those things that really is blocking me from so many things. And I got to thinking, am I stuck? Is this a lie that I'm telling myself? And I'll get there when I'm ready. I kept saying that. I kept saying it to him. I'll get there when I'm ready. I'll get there when I'm ready. And I wasn't really absorbing anything that he was saying. And then I went on, and I'm listening to some podcasts this week, and I was reading something. And I stopped, and it really resonated with me. And I ran it by him the other day, and it said, being ready isn't a feeling, it's a decision. Okay, let me think about that. Being ready isn't a feeling, it's a decision. We have to decide to move forward. We have to decide to be happy. The choice is yours, and it's no different for me. What is this bullshit that I'm telling myself all the time? I'm like, I can't get on a exercise regimen. I have no routine. I have all these things, all these fucking excuses surrounding me, quite honestly, to this one thing that I feel like is always holding me back. What the fuck? I called myself out on my own bullshit. So I was telling him about that phrase the other day, and I'm like, I just keep talking about it. I'm not doing anything about it. So what am I doing? This is the one thing, the one area that I need to conquer. Why is it so hard? And talking about something is not the same as doing something. Clearly, we know that. I had a business client recently that really I don't even know how to describe it. As our project is wrapping up, I know I'm triggering him on many things. And that's kind of my job, is to trigger you and ask the questions that make you ponder so that you can find it within you to move forward. And when you call somebody out on their bullshit, because nobody enjoys that, they're very defensive, and that's a normal reaction. It makes sense. But I found him saying after this, like, you're not very motivational. And I was like, I'm sorry to hear that. And he's like, you don't understand. I have all this stuff that I've been through, and I have, like, I've had a hard life, and I'm here, and I'm doing the best that I can. But you're not. But he has to make that decision. He has to make that decision to move forward, to do the work, to get over that stuff and stop making excuses. Talk is cheap. We've been on this project for almost 8 months and nothing's really changed. So as a coach in that regard, and this was a business client, so it's a little bit different, but in a coach as that regard, I have to just kind of let it go. Only when you're in it in the business, you have to have this functioning product. And so that's really difficult because it's completely out of my hands. But the defense, and the jabs back are hurtful because I'm doing everything that I can to lead you to water. I can't force you to drink. So owning your bullshit is really important in life and in business. And talk is cheap. Start taking action. What are those things that you can break down to get closer to the things that you want? So, and then on another note, we can, talking is cheap. We can all talk and then try to inspire people or share a positive meme or something on Facebook. And you're like, oh, this is so positive. This is so great. And that's awesome. And I encourage that. But are you doing the work? Are you embodying the practice that you're portraying? Talk is cheap. And someone who still has a lot of growth ahead of them, whether they tackle it or not, will not always take your help as that. They'll take it as a personal attack, focusing on their lack, and spin it back around. And it's unfortunate. Instead, when someone calls you out on your bullshit, I encourage you to pause and think about that, because that's the major trigger, right? So it makes us angry, and we should get angry. I'm mad at myself for holding myself back. Okay, now what the fuck can I do about it, right? Are you angry? Great. Let it fuel you to your next step. I hope it pushes you. And I've called people out on their bullshit so many times before. I don't mind being the bad guy. Why is it triggering you? What are you struggling with? What do you wish that you could do better? What is it? So get angry. Stand up and let's fucking go. Let's get it done. It's time to take action. So we are like a culmination, and I've said this so many times before, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say it to you specifically, is that we are a culmination of the people we surround ourselves with. We are a combination of the 5 people that we are closest to. And I don't even know if I have 5 people that I'm close to right now in my life. But if that circle around you is not inspiring you, if you're like at the top of that circle, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but think about it. If you're at the top of that circle, you're in the wrong circle. You need to bring in some new people into your circle that inspire you to do better. That's how we raise the bar. As uncomfortable as it is. It doesn't mean you need to cut off those people completely or anything like that, but it means that you need to challenge yourself so that you can grow. So I had a decision to make to move on from certain relationships. And even in the last year, I'm seeking out friendships that are fulfilling and dual-sided, and that I'm not the only one contributing or making contact or calling or whatever. And it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary for growth. We grow out of those people sometimes, and that's okay. They do too. And if you have someone in that circle that's willing to call you out on your bullshit, good. Maybe they'll kick you in the ass. I've had some friends that have called me out on some big bullshit, And it hurts at the time. And then you're like, you know what? She's fucking right. Or he's fucking right. And there's always going to be those dark times. There was definitely dark times, in the last year, even as I'm building my business, that I didn't want to get out of bed. There were definitely days that I didn't get out of bed. And one of those phrases that I couldn't stand is that there's like, it's all up to you. There's no one coming to save you. And I would kind of take that in a wrong way, but it's so true. Even right now, in that overwhelm, as all of these things that I'm trying to do, like I need to accomplish, it's literally up to me. I don't have anyone backing me up, but so many of us don't. It's just really interesting to think about, because I was always kind of like, well, at least they're married. You have a husband or you have a partner. So you have someone, you have support. And yes, that support, someone to bounce ideas off of, really, really helps. And I am grateful for the couple that I do have that I can share with, but it's hard sometimes. And we sit in that contemplation stage sometimes too long, longer than we should. And I'm not saying you have to throw all caution to the wind, but if you have something that you want to act on and you're contemplating it and you know that you need to move forward, get it all out and start taking the steps to get it done. So I'm a big believer in that. I had months ago on my website on lauraferry.com or myinnerstruggle.com, there are free printable PDFs for you to use. And there's a bunch of different ones. And one of them is called the brain dump. And I go back to that over and over and over again. Or just take a piece of paper and write out everything that's in your head that you're contemplating and that you know that you need to take action on. Make a list and then start prioritizing those things. And for me, I'm creating this podcast studio, so I'm sort of in between things right now, and I'm home, which is why you'll hear the animals and you might hear some other things, which is fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't decrease the level of entertainment that you are receiving. But you have to make these decisions based on your current situation and what will work and all of these projects that you have going on and whatever makes sense, right? I literally am staring at 3 lists that I have going right now, and they're all divided up. One is like calls that I have to make. One is pertaining to home life and my house, and the other is my business. And so we only have so many hours in the day. And I use my planner and my journal and all of that too, but I needed to dump it all here so that I can divide it up onto the days to get these things done. And so when I know I have projects that it's like putting together a puzzle, you have to dissect them and prioritize, and then slowly start chipping away at all of the things so that you can accomplish what you need to drive yourself forward. That is the best decision that you can make, is to move forward. Decide, commit to it, and go. Create a plan. Stop procrastinating. I spent way too long in the beginning of my transformation contemplating things. I spent a good 10 years in a marriage that I knew I didn't want to be in. And that was my own stuff. But I sat there waiting and deciding, and it took a really long time to get there. And anybody that I know that's been divorced, I had an old boss that said the same thing, and he was like, I wish I had just done it sooner. And I'm not encouraging divorce. I'm just saying making a change, a job change, whatever it is that you know it's not for you. Life is too short to sit where we're unhappy. It doesn't make any sense. We're wasting time. And in the beginning of my transformation, I didn't have encouragement from anyone. And even, writing my book and going through these tumultuous details of my childhood and the pain that I went through, it's been scary. It's scary that other people know the information, but it's also super healing. And I didn't have encouragement, for anyone to love myself. I cultivated that myself. I started reading the books. I started listening to the podcasts. I started going to therapy. I started beginning my own practice and then sought out, coaches and tools that would help me figure it all out. And you can too. And I'm here to help you too. And little by little, we add those different elements into our life, and then we begin to see the change. We begin to feel better and see better. So if you're feeling stuck, let's make a decision. We are a culmination of all those conversations that we have with all those different people from all facts of life, all the bits and pieces of information that we take, which is why it's so cool. Because if you watch my podcast for 10 minutes and it makes you ponder something today, then I did my job. And I love that. So as far as my clients or my business clients, I don't mind being the bad guy. I want to give you the tools. I want you to succeed because that makes me feel better. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy here because I love helping people, and it's kind of selfish because it makes me feel good. But it's up to you, no one else, to take action and use those tools. And you have no right to be upset with anyone other than yourself if you haven't been doing the work. We can't keep using our past, our childhood trauma, or the shit that's happened to us as an excuse to not make a decision or not move forward. We're wasting time. I encourage you to think about those triggers. I encourage you to think about why you're stuck. What is it? Write it down. Tell me about it. I want to hear about it. Send me an email. Hit me up on social media. Why are you stuck? And what are you going to do about it? Remember, it's all up to you to take action. And being ready isn't a feeling. It's a decision. So what's your decision going to be? Are you ready to get unstuck? You have to put in the work. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for watching and listening. And be sure to check out the blog at myinnerstruggle.com. There's a lot of great things happening. I have a little teaser. I have been working on this online community to create a safe space where you can learn and grow with me together. And it's called the Self-Love Club. And please go to my website, check it out, put yourself on the wait list. It'll be coming out soon and you'll be the first to hear about it. So go to lauraferry.com and check out the wait list for the Self-Love Club. Don't forget to check out the blog at myinnerstruggle.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe while you're here on YouTube or Spotify so that you get notified every time a new video comes out. It is the best support that you could ever give me. And please, if you're enjoying this, share it with a friend. I will see you soon.